So you're thinking about moving to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Now you've seen the headlines, #1 best place to live in the United States, #1 best place to raise a family in the United States, and all the other accolades and all the other headlines that have come out. But you might be asking yourself, is Ann Arbor really the best place to raise a family? Now, there's a lot that goes into choosing a city, a lot of things to consider. As a father myself, I know when we look at schools, we look at crime, all the things considered, these are very important. And we want to be the best resource to shine some light on, is this the real life of what we're seeing on the news, what we're seeing on the headlines, or hear it from somebody who actually lives here. So in this video, guys, we're going to take a deep dive into, is Ann Arbor the best place to raise a family, and show you a little bit more color than what you would see from the headlines. And yes, everything that we're going to talk about in this video is available online. There's nothing of my opinion that is going to come through. This is really coming from a lot of local residents and things. Again, there's only so many things I can say as a real estate professional, so I need to toe a fine line. But I wanted to bring this to your attention because these are the questions that I get asked a lot, and I have a difficult time answering them because there's only so many things I can say and not say in regards to crime, safety, all those things as a real estate professional. But this video is going to shine a light on some of the good, some of the bad, and some of the ugly. So if you're into that, then stick around because we're getting after it right now. Hey, what's going on, you guys? If we're meeting here for the first time, my name is Meldrum. I make videos just like this about all things Metro Detroit. I talk about what it's like to live here, play here, work here, and yes, the sunshine and the snow and everything in between. I'm also a licensed real estate professional. I help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest here in the Metro Detroit market. We want to help you do just that. So if this information is helpful for you, go ahead and subscribe and tap that little bell so you're the first to learn about the current market and all the new videos we put out on a weekly basis. All right, so this is a major topic when relocating to a new city. Finding good school systems, finding the best place to live for you and your family that meets all of your lifestyle, requirements. Those are really important things. And the more and more we help people relocate here to Michigan, and specifically Ann Arbor and the surrounding area, we get these questions a lot because Ann Arbor does bring in a lot of people for the school systems and for the parks and the restaurants and the downtown area and the vibrant community that's here in Ann Arbor. But a lot of what I get asked is Eric, I hear all these things on the news, I read these articles, is this for real? Is this utopia? Is this the best place to live and raise a family? Or are there other alternatives in the surrounding areas that might be a better fit for what we're looking for? And that's a great question to ask. Like I said, there's a lot that goes into this. So I'm going to break this down in this video and kind of go through a few categories that I want to touch on today. And again, safe harbor statement here, we're not bringing you my opinion. I'm not speaking on whether I think something is right or wrong or indifferent. This is what I've heard from my clients. This is what I've heard from residents in Ann Arbor. This is what I've heard from people who I've spoken with about these topics. So just know, don't roast me in the comments on these. These are not my opinion. As a real estate professional, there's only so many things I can say. But what I do know is that these things are important. And as a father myself, my wife and I, these are the same questions that we ask ourselves when we picked out the school that our girls go to. There was a lot of questions about the curriculum, about how they address things that are going on in our economy and just different topics. Not here to get into any of that. I encourage you to do your own homework and do your own research on those type of things with the curriculum. We'll put some resources down below when we look at schools and crime stats in the area. But I do know what goes into it. So, I want to bring this topic to you guys and talk about Ann Arbor specifically because this is where we get a lot of people relocating to for job relocations in the tech industries, in the automotive industries, and certainly the healthcare and the education industries as well. I can't forget that one. But there's a lot of things that go into this. So, let's get into it, guys. So just know I'm coming from a place where, I'm putting myself in your shoes and asking the right questions to hopefully shine some light on things that are important to you. All right, so there's a lot of pros about living in Ann Arbor and raising a family. Now, having the university as one of the largest employers, the education system, the healthcare system, I'm combining those all into one, right? It's creating over 35,000 jobs here in Ann Arbor. So naturally, we get a lot of doctors, we get a lot of people in the healthcare professions, even for startups, just in tech, biotech, and things, people coming here for research and doing their residency at the University of Michigan. And all of these are high-paying jobs. So with that, we get a lot of wealthy people coming into town. And the healthcare industry and the education is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that. There's a whole entire ecosystem of the automotive and autonomous vehicles and electrification of vehicles that's happening right here in Ann Arbor. There's kind of this bridge between Ann Arbor and Detroit. There's a talks that Ann Arbor and Detroit are becoming the new Silicon Valley. Well, Detroit specifically, but Ann Arbor is also in the contention because they're supporting a lot of that research. But just know like there's a lot of money coming into Ann Arbor for these engineering jobs, doctors, people that are in C-level management positions at a lot of these companies. And these are really important things that they're asking when they're coming in is like, hey, where should we send our kids to school? What are the best neighborhoods? And when it comes to the job market here, it is a big attraction for a lot of people. So, that's kind of where we start with this. And then that stems into, is Ann Arbor the right place for us versus the surrounding area, maybe a neighboring city or something that is not specifically in the downtown Ann Arbor area as well. The other major reason so many people love moving to Ann Arbor is for all the outdoor space. So if you're an outdoor enthusiast and you love nature, you love going on walks or taking your dogs for walks through parks or, just kind of strolling through the neighborhoods with your kids, there's a ton of opportunity here in Ann Arbor to go out and enjoy nature, right? The whole entire name of Ann Arbor is Arbor, right, which means trees. And then Ann was the actual founders, the two wives of the husbands who found Ann Arbor. Their wife's name was Ann. I did a whole separate video on that. But, there's trees, there's nature, there's so many things. And, that speaks to the type of lifestyle, that people like living here in Ann Arbor is we love to be outdoors. We love the nature trails. We love going biking. We love going hiking. We love going through, places like Nichols Arboretum or visiting places like Dexter Huron Metro Park. And we have a lot of metro parks as well. So that's a big pro when it comes to Ann Arbor is the outdoor living. The whole entire city is walkable. They're converting all the lanes in the downtown area and the surrounding areas into bike lanes. It's a little bit confusing right now, I'll admit, going downtown and driving can be a bit of a challenge sometimes because the bike lanes are taking over and you're not really sure, like, should I go in the right-hand lane over the bike lane to turn or do I turn from the actual lane? I mean, these are real life problems that we're getting into, but, we'll get through them and Ann Arbor will survive. It's just a matter of, can we get up to speed fast enough on how to navigate all of these different things? One of the other big reasons so many families are attracted to Ann Arbor is for the school system alone. Now, the school system is ranked in the top of its class. Some of the surrounding cities like Dexter, Saline, Northville, they're all very highly ranked as well. But Ann Arbor always tops the charts when it comes to schools here in the Michigan area, especially the Metro Detroit area. Plenty of other great schools around here in Metro Detroit, but Ann Arbor has some special curriculums. And if you're into getting more information on those special curriculums, we'll put some resources down below so you can check those out. But the school system here, people rave about it, and it's one of those things that keeps people coming to Ann Arbor. All right, so we talked about why so many people are relocating back to Michigan, for jobs here in the Ann Arbor area, and the other major reason is for people being closer to families. Maybe they grew up here and they moved away, moved out to the West Coast, or moved to a city like New York or Chicago after college, but now that they're established and you've started a family and now you're ready to get back to Michigan, be closer to family, be here for the kids to grow up with their grandparents, their cousins, those type of things. That's the major reason we moved back from California is we knew California was never a thing that was going to last a long time, but we were going to give it a few years, maybe 5 years was our 5-year plan. We lasted 12 months and then we were back in Michigan. Some other factors had to play in there, but we were back in Michigan ultimately for family. So when people are relocating back to the Ann Arbor area, this, again, schools get brought up, the outdoor spaces, just the nature, the downtown area, the culture in Ann Arbor, these are all major attractions for families. Now, what you don't hear from a lot of these articles and publications that rank Ann Arbor one of the best places to live in the U.S., one of the best places to raise a family here in Michigan, is the other side. Like, what are locals saying? Is that really true? And I'm here to tell you, like, there's a different side of the story, when it comes to living in Ann Arbor. It's not all bad. So I want to preface it with, this is not a doom and gloom thing, but it's shining a light on some of the topics that nobody really likes to talk about because they're controversial. And I'm not making this video to stir up any controversy. I'm simply just bringing you the information so you can do with it what you please. We'll always have resources down below to crime stats, school rankings, and all of those things that you can go do the research on your own. My job is to bring it to your attention and ultimately let you make the best decision. And we're always happy to have those conversations, through Zoom. I got my Calendly link down below as always. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe and tap that bell so you're notified every time we come out with a new video. But ultimately, my job is to bring you the information to let you make the best decision. So that's what we're doing. All right, so some local journalists actually had this question and wanted to shine a different perspective on, the publications for best place to raise a family, all these things. And I wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it was a great share, number one, but also gives a little bit more context to what I'm talking about without me actually saying it, which again, I can only say so many things as a real estate professional, but this is exactly what I would say to a client or share with a client is like, hey, these are the things that you might want to be aware of. And again, it's not all bad, but it's just a different perspective than what you hear. So we always love seeing the different side of things. We want to talk to the left, talk to the right, but ultimately find common ground and understanding, number one, so we can make the best decisions. This is not a I'm right or you're wrong thing. This is just facts, So this article was what would make Ann Arbor a better place for families to live? So that was the question that the journalist brought up. What would make Ann Arbor a better place for all families to live? So it was acknowledging the fact that we know Ann Arbor is a great place to raise a family, but how could it be better? So I'm seeing a lot of business owners on here, and some of these are local business owners and activists for certain things like affordable housing and different areas that are trying to make Ann Arbor a better place to live for everybody. One of the biggest separations for a lot of businesses and restaurants that were really hit hard was finding labor, finding people to work in the Ann Arbor area, because so many people who work in the restaurant industry or the service industry, they just can't afford to live in Ann Arbor. The prices are a little bit too high for where they need it to be to live in the city and pay taxes and do all those things. So great perspective here on the topic that we're talking about. I wanted to share this one with you from Rich Chang. He's actually a tech founder of the New Foundry Group, and he's a board member of the United Way, Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor Area Transit Authority, Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum, Michigan Works, Southeast, WCC Foundation. That is an entire mouthful. He's got way too long of a title. It's like the episode of Seinfeld when he's like, what your hands on the business card, and it just says Vandalay Industries on it. Like, you need to shorten that up to just say Vandalay Rich. But anyways, I digress. So he was posed the question, what would make Ann Arbor a better place for all families to live? Said, well, we realize, acknowledge, and act to fix our shortcomings, i.e. housing, childcare, food securities as a community, and stop placing so much weight on the best of awards. Once that happens, we can truly work on being the best place for anyone to live, and we don't need awards to let the world know. Looking at 2019 data published by the United Way, 31% of Washtenaw County households are in poverty. Staggering. 31% of all households in Ann Arbor are in poverty, but we've seen so many publications that it's the, real estate is up and it's one of the best places to live. So interesting, right? So for the city of Ann Arbor, 38% are in poverty. Those numbers should be close to zero if we want to lay claim to the number one best place to raise a family. Totally agree, right? So like, this is, again, it's just a different perspective when we start looking at some stats. This is Jenny Jones, Executive Director of Title Track. I believe my family moved from Detroit to Ann Arbor because my father felt that the Detroit public school system would not meet the educational and safety requirements needed for my brother and me to thrive. This community became what we made of it. Any community can and does. I totally agree with that. Ann Arbor will become a better place for all families, not when we're checking off boxes for what to look for in neighborhoods, school systems, or downtown, but when everyone understands our differences, our diverse backgrounds, whether it be from wealth or education, poverty, and adversity, if I can say that word, or somewhere in between. make us wiser and richer and fuller people. So again, different perspective, when it comes from people who are living here, have been raised here. She went through the school system. And then this is E. Kim. She owns Miss Kim's downtown Ann Arbor and Carytown. And this is what she had to say. Ann Arbor is named the best place to live for families in the U.S. I guess if you're a traditional family looking for cute shops, cute parks, and conventional family activities. Okay, interesting. Take my neighborhood, Carytown, for example. This neighborhood is walkable, near parks, and filled with cute shops and kid-friendly museums. It's great. It is also very expensive and very gentrified, my business included. It's Black history, all but invisible. None of my staff can afford to live in Ann Arbor. That is a big thing I've heard from so many business owners, connecting with them, is that none of the staff, and I just talked about this, none of the staff can actually afford to live in Ann Arbor. Yet we prioritize single family zoning with plenty of NIMBY, which is an acronym for an organization here that addresses affordable housing. I'd want to live in a town with more than just cute shops, conventional traditions, and best intentions. I want deeper connections with diverse communities, whether that's racial or economic diversity. So, you guys, again, this is not me saying it. This is coming from business owners, people that live in the community. Obviously they're pouring their heart out, right? And they chose to, put their businesses in the community, or, start nonprofits and be part of the ultimate change, that's coming to Ann Arbor. But, just like any city, we're not adverse to these issues. All right, we're not adverse to, the things that are going on globally and socio-economical and all those things that you can find pretty much anywhere. So, hopefully this was helpful. These type of things are going to continue to pop up. Hopefully we can do more content on it that, is helpful for you guys to make some best decisions when moving here to Michigan. But, I appreciate you sticking around for this video. This is the first time I've ever done one of these type of videos on this channel. It's talking about some of the polarizing effects of a city. And again, I'm not saying Ann Arbor is a bad place to live because of this. I simply wanted to raise this because we do hear a lot of things about the places we live and the areas that we choose to send our kids to school in and ultimately buy a home in. And these things are important. Like, this is a very important topic when it comes to choosing a place to raise your family. So Metro Detroit is a very diverse ecosystem. There's a lot of different cities that offer a lot of different things, depending on your lifestyle. All right. So I always say, we don't sell real estate. We actually sell lifestyle. And that's why we developed, these channels. We have one in Tampa, Florida, and one here in Metro Detroit. And, we sell lifestyles. It's depending on how our clients are receiving the information and ultimately moving to Michigan to make the best decisions possible. So again, if this was helpful for you guys, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you're the first to learn about the current market here in Metro Detroit. And we look forward to helping you make better decisions when moving here to Michigan. So until next time, go check out these other videos. I think they're pretty cool because obviously I made them. And again, we want to be the best resource for you in making that move here to Michigan. So go out and have a great day. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.